I paid for my sister's wedding. Not helped. Not contributed. I paid for it. Start to finish. And on the day of the wedding, I found out I wasn't even invited. No warning. No heads up. Just a text. 3 hours before the ceremony. At the time, I was sitting in my car outside the venue in Santa Rosa, still dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, thinking maybe I'd help wrangle the last-minute chaos before heading home to change. I'd been checking my phone all morning. Part of me was waiting for something, maybe a call from her, maybe a frantic message from the coordinator. You know, something normal. Something that made sense. Instead, I got a text from my sister, just 4 hours before she was supposed to walk down the aisle. Hey Emily. I meant to call sooner, but everything got so hectic. So, we ended up finalizing the guest list and decided to keep it couples only. I really hope you understand. It just made more sense for seating and vibe. Can't wait to celebrate with you after we get back from the honeymoon. Love you. I read it once. Then again. Then I just sat there, gripping my phone so tightly my knuckles hurt. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Like I was trying to process a language I didn't understand. Couples only? That's why I wasn't invited. I had spent 8 straight months holding her hand through every panic, every spreadsheet, every phone call. When the original planner quit, I stepped in. I helped her find a new photographer after the first one ghosted. I drove her to her dress fittings. I paid the deposit on the venue when her fiancé's parents needed more time. I covered the difference in catering when they switched menus last minute. I took on extra clients at the dental clinic just to handle all the stuff she couldn't afford on her own. Late nights. Weekends. Canceled brunches with friends. No real break. All for this one day. She cried when she found the dress, and when she realized she couldn't afford it, I swiped my card. No hesitation. You deserve to feel amazing, I told her. And I meant it. She hugged me that day, looked me in the eye, called me the best big sister in the world. Not once did she mention I wouldn't even be there. And now? She was telling me via text that I didn't make the cut, that I didn't fit the vibe. Could have gone in. I was right there. The sun was shining, guests were already arriving. I saw a few of them, people I recognized from stories or from Instagram posts. People who had nothing to do with this wedding beyond attending it. Laughing, smiling, adjusting ties and fixing hair. And here I was, parked 20 feet away, invisible. I thought about storming in, about making a scene. I imagined asking her face to face, "Are you kidding me?" After everything I did. But I didn't. Because deep down I already knew the answer. She didn't forget to invite me. She didn't forget anything. She made a choice. She wanted her wedding to look a certain way, feel a certain way, and I guess I didn't fit. I'm not part of a +1. I wasn't going to walk in on someone's arm in a matching outfit. I guess that made me the odd one out. I sat there for a long time, the AC humming, my fingers still wrapped around the steering wheel, frozen. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just shut down. There's a kind of betrayal that doesn't hit all at once. It leaks in slowly, like water through drywall. You don't even realize the damage until you're standing in it. It wasn't just the exclusion. It was the humiliation. The idea of sitting there alone in my car while everyone else walked into a party I paid for. They'd probably ask where I was. Someone would lie. Say I got sick. Or had a work emergency. Or, my personal favorite, she didn't want to make it about her. But I wasn't going to give them that story. I wasn't going to be part of their version of the day. So I put the car in drive and left. She wanted a picture-perfect wedding? Fine. She could have it. Just not with me in the background, quietly holding it together like always. Growing up, Brooke was the favorite. The golden girl. The charismatic one with the big laugh and the perfect hair. She made friends at the grocery store. Teachers adored her. She got away with everything. I was the older one. Quiet. Bookish. A little too blunt. The kind of kid people described as responsible, when they didn't know what else to say. I used to think that meant something. That being reliable counted for something. That if you gave enough, eventually it would come back around. But standing in that parking lot, looking at the venue through the windshield of my beat-up Honda, I realized something. Some people will take everything you give, and still act like you were never part of the picture. And sometimes the only way to matter is to stop showing up for people who only notice when you're not useful anymore. I used to sit at the kitchen table and pretend it didn't bother me, that my own birthday party invitations never came, that I was the only one in our neighborhood who didn't get asked to sleepovers, that no one saved me a seat on the bus. By middle school it was worse. Brooke had become the kind of girl who walked into a room and made everyone light up. Pretty, charming, magnetic in a way you couldn't fake. Teachers adored her. Neighbors complimented her. My mom once called her a natural-born joy. Me? I was the background noise, the quiet kid, the one who always blended in with the wallpaper. I wasn't mean. I wasn't loud. I didn't smell bad or wear strange clothes. I just didn't register. By high school I wasn't just ignored. I was actively avoided. The bullying didn't start with a bang. It was slow, quiet, like mold creeping up a wall. Accidental spills on my homework. Notes shoved in my locker with no signature. Snickers in the hallway when I walked by. No one ever said anything directly, but they didn't have to. I kept my head down, told myself I didn't care. I buried myself in schoolwork and part-time jobs. I told myself it was fine, that none of it mattered. But the worst part was Brooke. At home we were sisters. She'd come into my room and borrow my hoodies. She'd sit on my bed and vent about friend drama or ask for advice about a guy she liked. We'd laugh. We'd share popcorn. I hoped we were close. But at school, she pretended I didn't exist. I remember the first time it happened like it's carved in glass. Sophomore year. I was walking down the hallway with a stack of books in my arms. Someone, no idea who, stuck their foot out and tripped me. Everything went flying. My books, my binder, my self-respect. The hallway echoed with laughter. I scrambled to collect everything, face burning, palms scraped, trying not to cry. And then I saw her. Brooke. Standing just a few feet away. She had seen the whole thing. Our eyes met for half a second. I swear I saw something flash across her face. Maybe pity, maybe guilt. And then she turned away. Just walked off. Didn't say a word. Didn't help. Didn't even blink. That was the moment I realized. I wasn't just ignored. I was an embarrassment to her. I was the sister she had to erase in public to keep her perfect reputation intact. After that, I stopped expecting anything. And honestly, I thought I made peace with it. Once high school ended, things shifted. I went to college out of state, started fresh. New people, new job, new life. I found my own rhythm. Brooke changed too. Or at least I thought she did. She'd call me when she needed advice. She'd send texts when she was feeling overwhelmed. She even apologized once, sort of. You know how high school was, Em. Everyone was an idiot. I didn't know how to handle stuff back then. I let it slide. I wanted to believe her. We were grown-ups now, right? Adults. That stuff was behind us. But now, sitting on my couch in silence, staring at her message telling me I wasn't invited to her wedding because I wasn't part of a couple, I realized nothing had really changed. She still didn't want me around when it counted. She still didn't want to be seen with me. I wasn't part of her picture-perfect day because I didn't fit the image she wanted to project. And the worst part? I let myself believe we were close again. I let myself believe the version of her who called me the best big sister in the world was real. But just like in that hallway all those years ago, when it came down to it, she turned away. Again. I took a deep breath, my fingers clenched around the wine glass I poured myself as soon as I got home. It was supposed to be a celebration tonight. Not hers, mine. My freedom from all of this. The first call came an hour after the ceremony. I didn't answer. Then came the second. The third. By the seventh missed call, I knew she had figured it out. I didn't check the voicemails. Not right away. I wanted her to feel it. The moment she realized I wasn't going to show up this time. That she couldn't use me, and then quietly tucked me out of sight like an old receipt. I thought back to the day she got engaged. How she'd called me crying with happiness, screaming into the phone about how he'd proposed under the old oak tree in Marin. How she couldn't believe it was real. How I was going to be her rock through everything. And I was. God help me, I was. Through every meltdown. Every dress change. Every invoice and emergency call. I showed up. I gave so much. And when it came time to include me, she dropped me like I was nothing. Not even a seat in the back. Not even a mention. And I'm not doing it again. Not this time. She said I was going to be her maid of honor. Said she couldn't imagine doing any of it without me. Said I was part of everything. Apparently that didn't include the guest list. She let me pour my savings into her wedding. Let me take charge of the planning. Let me handle the crisis calls, the budget freakouts, the endless spreadsheets and seating charts. She let me pay for the dress, the photographer, the venue deposit, everything she said she couldn't afford. But she didn't find me important enough to actually be there. And she thought she could just slide that in with a text, 3 hours before the ceremony, and I'd take it. Like I always did. Like I was still that girl in high school, scrambling to pick up her books off the hallway floor while Brooke pretended not to know me. Not this time. I picked up my phone and opened our message thread. The first unread one was from around noon. Brooke. Hey, where are you? Then, Brooke. And please pick up. This is serious. Then, Brooke. I know you're mad but you don't understand. Everything is going wrong. I smirked and tapped open the thread, scrolling through the increasingly panicked messages. Brooke. The venue won't let us in. They're saying the final payment bounced. Brooke. Did you cancel something? Brooke. The caterer isn't here. They said they never got paid. Brooke. Emily, what did you do? Not something. Everything. I had made exactly one phone call after driving away from the venue. Just one. After reading her text, after sitting in my car for 10 full minutes letting the betrayal settle, I dialed the number on the back of my credit card. Hi. I'd like to dispute some charges on my account. Calm. Simple. Clinical. Yes, those are the ones, the venue, the florist, the caterer. I didn't receive any of the services. I'd like to cancel them immediately. And just like that, every pending payment disappeared. The vendors? They were expecting final checks. Now they were looking elsewhere for their money. The wedding? It was unraveling in real time. I could only imagine the scene. Brooke arriving at the venue expecting Pinterest perfection, only to be told the balance hadn't cleared. Watching guests arrive while nothing was set up. Waiting for food that never came. Seeing the DJ pack up his gear when the coordinator said payment wasn't confirmed. Wondering why the flowers looked so non-existent. I pictured her face. The confusion. The embarrassment. The moment the reality started to sink in. I took a sip of wine and smiled. The phone rang again. I answered on the third buzz. I didn't even get out a full hello before her voice hit me like a freight train. Emily, what did you do? I pulled the phone away from my ear, wincing. You're going to have to be a little more specific, I said, voice even. She was breathing hard, like she just sprinted a mile, or spent the last hour frantically trying to glue her dream wedding back together with duct tape and excuses. The venue, the caterer, everything is falling apart. Oh, I said casually, sinking into the couch. That sounds terrible. Don't play dumb, I know it was you. I tilted my head, my voice still calm. Sweet even. Brooke, what exactly are you accusing me of? You canceled everything. I sighed. Loudly. Like she was exhausting me. I mean, I wasn't invited. So it's really none of my business, is it? There was a beat of silence. I could feel her trying to twist the narrative, find an angle that made her the victim. I waited. And then, shockingly, she tried a different tactic. Okay, look. I get it, you're upset. But if you just fix this, call the vendors, pay them again, you can come to the reception. We'll pretend this never happened. I almost laughed out loud. Now I was invited? Now that everything had collapsed? Now that her perfect image was cracking in front of all those guests? Now that she needed my money? I let a long silence stretch. You know what, Brooke? I said finally, my voice light, almost cheerful. You made it clear I wasn't important enough to be at your wedding. So why should my money be? Emily, wait. Please don't. I hung up. The text started immediately. Brooke. You're seriously doing this? Brooke. You ruined my wedding. Brooke. How could you do this to me? I set my phone down on the coffee table. Took another sip of wine. She didn't ruin her wedding because I canceled the charges. She ruined her wedding the moment she decided I wasn't good enough to be part of it. All I did was make sure my money wasn't there either. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the girl left out. I felt like the girl who finally walked away. I woke up the next morning to 23 unread messages. I didn't even check them right away. I just sat at the kitchen counter drinking my coffee, watching the sun creep through the blinds, while the panic played out on my lock screen in real time. Brooke, you don't understand what you've done. Brooke, this isn't just about me. Brooke, you embarrassed the entire family. Brooke, Mom and Dad are furious with you. Brooke, I hope you're happy. You completely destroyed the most important day of my life. I set my phone down and exhaled slowly. That last one? I was expecting it. I knew Brooke. I knew how her mind worked. I knew that in her version of reality, nothing was ever her fault. She wasn't sorry for what she'd done to me. Not for using me, not for taking my money, not for deciding I wasn't worthy of attending the very wedding I had paid for. She was just sorry it had backfired. And now, right on cue, she'd gone running to Mom and Dad, spinning the story so I was the villain and she was the innocent bride caught in the crossfire. I sighed. Here we go. My phone started ringing again. I stared at the screen. Mom. I considered letting it go to voicemail, but I knew that would only drag things out longer. So I took a deep breath and answered. Emily, she said. Sharp, disappointed. Her voice already carried the weight of an argument she had no intention of losing. What did you do to your sister? I almost laughed. Of course she didn't ask why. Just what? I don't know, I said coolly. What did Brooke tell you I did? She told me you sabotaged her wedding. That you canceled all the payments at the last minute just to punish her. I closed my eyes and rubbed my temple. So predictable. Did she tell you why I did that? I asked. There was a beat of silence. Barely a pause, but enough. Enough for me to know the answer. No. She didn't, did she? I let out a bitter little laugh. Of course not. Brooke had probably spun some story about me being jealous or petty, conveniently forgetting to mention that I hadn't even been invited. Emily, whatever happened, you should have handled it differently, Mom said, her voice dipping into that familiar tone, calm, reasonable, patronizing. She's your sister. There it was. The golden rule. The unspoken commandment I'd lived under my entire life. Be the bigger person. No matter how she treated me. No matter what she did. Forgive. Smile. Let it go. Keep the peace. And for the first time I didn't. You know what, Mom? I said, my voice flat but firm. Brooke made her choice. She made it very clear I wasn't welcome at her wedding. So I made sure my money wasn't there either. Seems fair to me. Emily. No. I cut her off, my voice rising just enough to stop her. I'm done. I am done being treated like I don't matter. I spent months helping her plan that wedding. I paid for everything. I sacrificed my time, my money, my life so she could have her big day. And she knew that. She knew. And still, she decided I wasn't worth being in the room. Silence. For the first time, Mom didn't have a quick answer. Because deep down, even she couldn't justify this. Emily. Her voice was softer now. Hesitant. I know you're hurt, but nothing, I snapped. I'm done fixing things. I'm done cleaning up after her. I'm done being the backup plan. If Brooke wants to play the victim, fine. Let her. But I'm not going to apologize for finally standing up for myself. Another pause. Then, so that's it? She asked quietly. You're just cutting your sister out of your life? I thought about that. And I thought about high school when Brooke pretended not to know me. I thought about all the years I spent being her shadow, her unpaid assistant, her emotional support system. I thought about every birthday, every family event, where I got overlooked while she got applause. And then I thought about that wedding. How she had hugged me while taking my money. How she had made promises with zero intention of keeping them. How she had known, the whole time, that I wouldn't be invited. And still smiled in my face. No, Mom, I said quietly. Brooke cut me out the moment she decided I wasn't important enough to be there. And I hung up before she could say another word. The relief hit me instantly. Like air after being underwater too long. Like shaking off a weight I hadn't realized I was still carrying. For the first time in years, I wasn't chasing anyone. I wasn't trying to explain myself. I wasn't holding the family together with tape and good intentions. I was just done. And it felt good. That night, I blocked Brooke's number. I didn't care what she had to say anymore. Not the guilt trips. Not the outrage. Not the half-baked apology she'd only offer because her social media took a hit. And I wasn't sorry. Not for canceling the payments. Not for walking away. Not for finally choosing me. So I walked away. After everything I did, after everything she took, I finally chose myself. Some people might say it was harsh, that I should have just let it go. But honestly, I'm tired of always being the one who gets left behind and still shows up anyway. What would you have done? Was I wrong for pulling the plug? Or was this the first time I actually did the right thing? Let me know in the comments. I really want to hear your thoughts. And if this story hit home, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thanks for being here. And remember, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away.